Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best. We're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we're talking about number 231, Groundhog Day, which is a comedy, fantasy, romance film from 1993. It has an 8.0 on 518,085 votes. Sorry, that fantasy bit stumped me for a sec, but then I was like, yeah, it kind of actually is.
It is.
Like, I was like, no, it's really realistic, but then I thought about it, and I was like, no, it's not. I had to think about it for a second. So, the spoiler-free synopsis. A cynical TV weatherman finds himself reliving the same day over and over and over and over and over and over and over again when he goes on location to the small town of Punxsutawney to film a report about their annual Groundhog Day. His predicament drives him to a distraction until he sees a way of turning the situation to his advantage.
Yeah. Pretty much the movie.
Yeah. See, I was going to write down in my notes that town name, but I was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's somewhere, so I didn't write it down.
Punxsutawney. Yeah.
I didn't. It was too long for me to feel like writing it down because I watched it yesterday before my nap. So I was
This is pre-nap watching.
Pre-nap watching, yeah.
Got it. Alright, so the director is Harold Ramis. He directed Caddyshack, National Lampoon's Vacation, and Multiplicity. He's also done a bunch of acting, but I won't go into that. Of course, the actors. We have Bill Murray, Andy McDowell, and Chris Elliott. These are the three main ones. Mm-hmm. I love Bill Murray, so I was excited to watch this.
I like Bill Murray. So the average rating on Rotten Tomatoes was an 8. It has 96% on 76 critical reviews, so 73 were fresh, 3 were rotten. 2 of the fresh, Stanley Kaufman. Murray, more often than not, is pretty unbearable, but here, playing a man who is unbearable, Murray begins convincingly, amusingly, and gets more amusing as he metamorphoses.
How is Bill Murray unbearable?
But that's his character. That's what he said. That's what he's saying. He's unbearable, being unbearable. It's hard to see Bill Murray be unbearable because he's such a likable character.
That's not where I got from that. It says Murray, more often than not, is pretty unbearable, but here playing a man.
A man who is unbearable. To me, what that says is it's hard to see Bill Murray be an unbearable person in a movie. That's what that says to me.
I don't see it that way, but whatever.
Well, that's what I would take it that way because it's a fresh one. If it was a rotten one, then I would take it the way you're saying.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very fresh to me, but whatever.
I promise that's where I got it from. It was the fresh ones.
Okay.
Dwayne Berg. While Murray's deadpan put-downs and dry,
dismissals.
God. And dry dismissals of provincial... Oh my god! What in the world? Peccadolus? What does that even say? It's like they put this one here just to make me mad.
Probably.
So, Murray is comical with his sarcastic way about him, pretty much.
Okay.
Is what I'm gonna assume that says.
Just go with that. It's good.
And it says Groundhog Day is no superfluous rip of a small town, USA.
I can see that.
That whole thing, Mr. Dwayne, you suck. You don't like your usage of words because I was not an English major. So these words, some of them I do not know. Okay. Now that I've gotten that out. David Nusser. The film's forgettable, padded out nature confirms its place as promising, yet disposable high-concept comedy. That's a rotten one. So he's saying the movie sucks.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
She flipped the screen off.
I did flip the screen off. Yeah. I mean, I was just, channeling Bill Murray at this point.
Yeah. Michael Dakina. A marginal success, but it could have been a complete one if the people behind the camera did as good as those in front of it. Oh my god, he attacked the cameraman.
I was like, you're attacking the director, the cinematography.
Everybody. He, attacked all of them. And, the camera angles were bad, the direction was bad.
Oh, no, you don't say anything bad about Harold.
That's funny.
That's not cool.
So
may he rest in peace.
The consensus: smart, sweet, and inventive Groundhog Day highlights Murray's dramatic gifts while still leaving plenty of room for laughs.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
it fits.
So, the budget is $14.6 million. The U.S. it made $70,906,973. Its opening weekend it made $12,517,672. So it almost made its money back on opening weekend.
Nice.
Its all-time domestic rank is 1,097. And the highest all-time rank that it has been was number 184. Pretty much when it came out. It's June 29th, 1993. So that's my guess is when it came out. Because it came out in 1993.
Yep, it did.
So, it has 6 awards. The BAFTA Awards, it won Best Screenplay. 2020 Awards, Best Original Screenplay. Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. Best Actress. The BMI Film and TV Awards. It just won an award. George Fenton won. British Comedy Awards, Best Comedy Film. London Critics Circle Film Awards, Screenwriter of the Year. And it is on the National Film Registry.
Excellent.
So that's like a preserved movie.
Yes.
And make
preserved
sure it's not
for all time.
Make sure it's not going to get forgotten, pretty much.
Which is a good sign.
Yeah. Because if they pick it up, it's at least decent.
At least.
Alright, so initial thoughts. You've seen this before.
I've seen this many times. It's funny, my brother and I made this joke. Every Groundhog's Day, he actually likes to watch this movie. He likes to watch it on a loop. So it plays over and over and over again.
That's like me in Halloween with Hocus Pocus.
I know. First time I watched this, well, again, I've been a big Bill Murray fan, my entire life. So, I was like, alright, Bill Murray film, let's watch this. I was young. I loved it. And I've loved it ever since. Every time I watch it, I'm just laughing, and I always catch something new.
I liked it. I mean, I'm not really big on comedies or romances, and this is 2 things that this movie is. But even with it being that, I still thought it was entertaining, and I didn't fall asleep. I literally watched this right before I took a nap, and I did not fall asleep.
That's high praise from Kat.
It is, because I fall asleep for everything. But yeah, I think because I don't have a Groundhog's, because I like to have movies for every holiday, but I don't have a Groundhog's Day one.
Now you do.
Now I do. I was like, this is actually entertaining.
It is.
I will watch this again.
They literally show it all day on Groundhog Day.
Oh, I believe it.
They do. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's entertaining. I liked it.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop listening until you've watched it and come back here. So, it starts off in that opening music is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It's just it's like a carnival. It's just it made me want to go to a carnival, because growing up, I lived in, technically it was a small town, but it's not the smallest town. the Punxsutawney. It's not like that small of a town.
No.
But it was a small enough town to where we had our own, like... It wasn't a carnival. It was called the Jubilee. And it was basically where everybody just, like, came together. And there was the carnival rides, and then there was all kinds of everything else. So it just made me really want to go to that. Because I haven't been to it in forever. And so just, like, I just want to go.
That's a nice memory to think of.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. We start out with that.
Yeah.
Apologies, I'm sick.
Yeah, and my voice is, like, because I was screaming so much last night.
Alright, so it starts out with Bill Murray. He's a weatherman.
He's a very entertaining weatherman.
He's a very entertaining weatherman. And he's in Pittsburgh, that you learn. He's doing the weather forecast and everything. It's very entertaining.
Yeah. He's like, I don't even remember exactly what he said because it's been a bit since I watched it. Even though it was yesterday.
He's like... He's in front of a green screen. He's like making all these gestures and like pushing and like
huge gestures.
It's like I watch that weather any day.
Yeah, like that actually makes me want to watch the weather.
Yeah.
So then he's talking about how he's gonna go to the largest Groundhog Day festival in America.
Yeah.
It's in Punxsutawney.
Punxsutawney,
which is a little town outside of Philadelphia, or not Philadelphia, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's a small little town because they have a Groundhog Day, and so he's going to travel with his new producer. Her name's Rita.
Yep.
Who's played by Andy McDowell, and Larry's the camera guy, played by Chris Elliott. So they travel to Punxsutawney, and Bill Murray's talking to Rita, just like I don't know how.
He comes across very strong. He has a very strong personality.
Strong and kind of
douchey.
I was gonna say arrogant, but okay.
I mean, that too.
I was trying to be nice.
Oh, I'm not.
Trying. I'm the nicer of the two, I guess. I don't know.
She was laughing because I held up my dark mark necklace.
Yes.
So, they pull up to the Pennsylvania Hotel, which is one of the hotels in Punxsutawney, and he's like, I don't want to stay here. I hated this place last time. It's got fleas and this and that.
They're like, Rita's like, you're not staying here. You're
like,
just dropping me off. You're going to go into a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
He's like, oh. And it was funny. And when he's, because they spend the night there right before, like, it's like they leave and they get there on February 1st, and then they spend the night.
Uh-huh.
When he's in his bed and the alarm clock wakes him up on February 2nd. So I got you, babe, by Sonny and Cher.
Yeah.
The blanket he has, it reminds me of a blanket my grandmother had. So I wrote that down. I was like, "Aw." I was like, "Hey, Grandma."
And then, so he gets up and gets ready, and then he goes out, and there's a guy that had just come up the stairs, and he asks him if he's going to go to the festival, and he's like, yeah. And he's very rude about it.
Oh, very rude.
And then he goes downstairs and talks to the owner lady, and he's kind of rude to her, too. And she's, like, trying to make small talk with him, and she asks him about the weather, and he starts giving his full weatherman report.
Full forecast.
And he's like, did you actually want to talk about the weather, or were you just making small talk? And she just kind of stands there with the little, like, I can't believe you just said that to me smirk on her face.
Yeah.
And says, I was just making small talk. And so he leaves. And then he runs into Ned the Head Ryerson.
Who's an insurance agent. And they went to, like, high school together?
Yeah, high school or something.
And
this little festival, do you watch Gilmore Girls?
I do not watch Gilmore Girls.
This festival reminds me so much of all the festivals that happen in Gilmore Girls, because it's like a tiny town, too. And they just have their little town square, and they've always got some kind of festival going on. And it just reminded me of that. I was like, that's really funny, because that's exactly what I would imagine Groundhog Day being in Stars Hollow.
That's true. And so he's doing the Groundhog broadcast and everything.
And his name is Phil, and the Groundhog.
His name is Phil. I was like, that wasn't on purpose at all.
I got a kick out of that. I thought that was funny.
I was like, Really? That was on purpose. Nice writing there.
So they get done with the thing.
And it says 6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah, because the groundhog says he saw his shadow.
Saw shadow.
And I was like, how do you understand what a groundhog says? It's just like...
Because you have to speak groundhog.
I don't speak groundhog.
You obviously don't. That's why there's people trained in groundhog. And they talk to Phil.
I think they're trained in crazy, but okay.
They have to be a little crazy. That's the requirement.
So they're leaving, heading back to Pittsburgh, and there's a wreck on the highway from the blizzard that he said wasn't gonna hit.
Yeah, and there's like a bunch of snow, and so the roads are getting closed down, so they have to go back to Punxsutawney.
Yep. And then, so, he wakes up at 6 a.m. again the next day, and you hear the same song come on with the same report.
Same thing. And he's like...
And it's like, the exact same stuff in the morning happens to him. Like, he runs into the man on the stairs, says the same exact thing to him.
He runs into Ned again. Yeah. And then he steps in the puddle again, which he did the previous day.
Yeah. And so he repeats the same day quite a few times, and he's like going crazy. And so he goes to the doctor to see if there's something wrong with him, and he says something about needing like an MRI or something. And he's like, we could get you an MRI, but you'd have to get to Pittsburgh, and you can't get to Pittsburgh because of the storm.
Yeah.
So he goes to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist says, I think we need to see each other again. How does tomorrow work? And he just, like, throws this big
Yeah, and he's been trying to tell Rita, like, this day keeps repeating itself. Yeah. She don't believe him, of course.
She thinks he's crazy.
Yeah.
So then he's in a bowling alley, and he's talking to these two guys, and he's, like, drinking, because he's just kind of given up slightly at this point.
I mean, the man's repeating the same day over and over and over again. So.
Yeah.
I would be doing that too.
Yeah. And then so he has this revelation of, there's no tomorrow. Why don't I just party like there's no tomorrow?
It's like, I can do whatever I want. Literally.
Yeah. So he takes the two guys on a reckless drive through the town.
Yeah, he drives on the train tracks.
Yeah.
Almost plays chicken with a train. That was funny.
I mean, he does play chicken with a train. He's like, he'll swerve first.
He'll swerve first.
He's like, yeah, the train going straight on a train track is going to swerve before you do, but okay. And so, he's being chased by the cops at this point, obviously. So he runs into this groundhog, like this big, huge cutout groundhog, like wood cutout groundhog, and he runs through it, and there's a car there, so he gets in a wreck, and then the cops come up to the window, and he tells the guys in the car, let me handle this, and then he starts ordering food from the cop.
That was hilarious.
And the guy in the middle, he's like, don't forget the flapjacks. So he gets arrested.
Yeah, and he gets in jail, of course.
Yep.
But then he wakes up in his same bed.
Yep.
The same song.
Yep. So he runs downstairs, and he's still got that mentality, because he can remember everything.
He remembers everything.
Literally
no one else
nobody
does.
else does. But he remembers everything. So he just runs down the stairs and kisses the inn owner.
Yeah.
Flat out kisses her, no care in the world, and she just kind of stands there like, what in the world is wrong with this man?
A random stranger just kisses me, okay.
Yeah. And then...
punches Ned.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Punches Ned. And then either the day before or like a previous repeat of the day, he had talked to this one lady and got some information from her. So he goes and he talks to her again and uses that information to pretend that he knows her. Yeah. Just to hook up with her, and she gets all mad at him. She's like, are you just doing this as a one-night stand? And he's like, no. I love you. I've always loved you.
I love
and
you.
And he asks her to marry him.
And then, of course, they fool around. He keeps calling her Rita.
Yeah.
Even though her name's Nancy.
Yeah.
I was like, ha.
And then the day resets again.
And again.
Now he's stealing money from a money truck.
Yeah.
He's like saying what's going to happen.
He's watched it. Like, so many times. He knows their names. He knows what they're going to be doing.
He's like, quarters and 10, 9. And he goes over there. And then the guy comes. He's like, didn't I have 2 bags?
Yeah. Steals money. Doesn't care.
Yep.
Is it like this weird, like, he's at this like movies or
he's,
something.
like,
He was like in
dressed
this
up
weird like cowboy thing. I don't know.
and then he walks near the lady that he had tricked earlier, and the lady that he's with now, he says that used to be his fiance, and she doesn't even recognize
It's like
him anymore.
ex-fiance. It's fine.
And he spends a lot of time flirting with Rita and trying to have the perfect date with her. And he does it probably a good 100 times.
He does. He learns pretty much everything about her.
Yep.
He's trying to win her over.
And nothing really seems to work.
Not
Like,
really.
it always ends in him getting slapped in the face.
Yeah. And it's like slap face like over and over again.
And then there's that little funny bit of him sitting on the couch eating the popcorn, answering all the Jeopardy questions.
Yeah, he answers all of them correctly, and they applaud and like, oh, you did a run of the category.
Yeah.
He's like, I've seen this. I don't know how many times.
Yeah. And then he kills the alarm clock like 5 times, 5 different ways.
Literally just like breaks it, and the song just keeps playing.
Yep. And then he steals the groundhog. And him and the groundhog are driving. He literally has the groundhog in his lap driving the car.
Yeah, and he steals the truck. The groundhog's driving, and they drive into...
It's like a construction site type thing.
Yeah, and he like drives the truck into like this... I called it like a gorge, kind of.
Yeah. He kills himself.
Literally.
In any way possible.
All kinds of different ways. Like, each day it's something different he tries to kill himself with. Like a toaster in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Jump from a building.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just wakes up every day in the same bed to the same song.
And then he is at lunch again with Rita, and he's telling her that he's the god. And she's like, no, you're not. And then he's like walking around saying stuff like random facts about all these people. And he's like, how would I know this if I'm not a god?
Yeah, that's true.
And then he tells Rita that he loves her. And the day repeats again.
Yep, that's true. Because he's reading poetry to her as she falls asleep. Which I thought was actually really sweet.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want that.
And then he gets hung up for, my guess is probably about a week or 2 on this homeless man.
Yeah, he's trying to save this homeless guy that he
Because
keeps
the
seeing.
homeless guy dies this day. Like
Yeah. You can't really save him.
Yeah, the first, when he does actually get hooked on this homeless man for, like, I guess it's, like, probably about 2 weeks in his time.
Probably.
He gives him money, and the homeless man is like, oh my god, this guy just gave me all this money. Like, he's super excited about it, and then, he takes him to the hospital because he was, like, having pain or something, and he died. And so he relives the day again, and he takes him to get food, and takes him to do some stuff.
The guy just keeps dying, so
there's nothing that
there's nothing he can do.
Because it's just, that's his day. It's his time to go.
Yep.
And then he spends some time learning to do ice shaving.
The ice sculpture, he learns to play the piano.
Yeah, and playing the piano. So he takes some time to learn some new skills. And then there's a kid that he saves. And he's like, you never say thank you.
It's like, never. You never say thank you. He gets like irritated and then just keeps going.
Yeah.
He fixes his old lady's car.
Yeah.
Their flat tire. Saves a choking man in a restaurant.
Yeah. And
he's playing the piano at this party.
yeah, playing the piano at the party. And like everybody is all thanking him and everything. And at this point, he's basically a completely different person than he was at the beginning of the movie.
He's like so like wonderful and nice and not full of himself.
Yeah, and he's kind of he's humble about it too, like. And then Rita kind of like starts to fall for him because she realizes this is not the same guy that I thought I knew.
That's true. And they have an auction actually that night, and
she pays $300 and something and 88 cents.
Yeah,
I remember the 88 cents.
She buys Phil for the night. So, but the funny part was because it's an auction. So of course, Larry's like, "Okay, I'm next." Right after him, 2 bits.
Yeah, 25 cents.
25 cents. I was like, "Oh my god, that's great."
That was funny. And so Rita and Phil go, and they kind of just hang out.
Yeah.
And she's thinking, because he's told her about how he's been repeating this day forever and ever and ever. And she's like, okay, well, we'll just wait to see when the day resets. If I'm still here, then you got to repeat the day forever and ever. But if I'm not still here, then you have to repeat the day. If I am still here, then hey,
it's done.
And and it gets to midnight, and she's like, while I'm still here, he's like, it doesn't reset till 6.
Yeah, that was actually in the earlier part of the movie.
Yeah,
that she says that. But they do, like, spend time together. He's actually, like, sculpting in, like, the snowman, like, her face.
Yeah.
Because he studied it so long. And he's, repeating the same day over and over again.
Yeah. And, like, when he's trying to woo her that entire time that, he repeats the date probably hundreds of times, he, like, makes fun of her. Like, the first time he makes fun of what her major was in college.
French poetry.
And then the next time he's reciting French poetry to her, and then he probably said something stupid about not wanting kids, because then you later see him like glorifying having kids and like being super excited about it. And
yeah, he's just been trying to win her over pretty much this entire time.
Yeah.
So. And of course, he's changed, and of course they kiss, and she spends the night, and wakes up the next morning, and
it's a different day.
The day has changed.
It's a different song on the radio.
Different song. She's still there. He looks outside the window, and the road is covered in snow.
Yeah, because the blizzard actually did hit.
It did happen.
It wasn't supposed to. And then they go outside, and he's like, "Let's live here."
Yeah.
Like, well, now you know everybody, so you might as well.
Why not?
But, like, literally, he knows everybody in the town.
Everybody.
He spent so much time just studying them all, so.
If the same days repeated over and over again, I think you figure people out.
Yeah. And it's funny, like, this one is so short to talk about because it's just the same thing over and over, just slightly different.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it plays out is, I like the way it plays out quite a bit, because it doesn't literally repeat the same day. You see different bits of the day every time. You don't get to see the same day 50 friggin' times. You get to see, I'd say, 6 months is what he said. Like, 6 months he's been repeating this day. Something like that. I
have a director's note, but that's some trivia.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he had said, maybe that was probably at some point in it when he was talking to Rita that he said 6 months, so it's probably a lot longer than that he repeats the same day. But it doesn't...
It never says how long.
Yeah, it never quite says it.
Well, I mean, if the man learned how to play piano, and he just was terrible at it at first, and then he's, like, really good, that takes a long time.
It does.
So...
10,000 hours, as the study says.
Very true.
10,000 hours to get good at something. That's why I'm so good at reading. Alright, so...
The music.
I thought the music was really good for...
It did.
All of this. Like, when it needed to be comical and whimsical, it was. And when it needed to be kind of serious, it was. And... I just loved it. It was really good.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing Sonny and Cher.
Yeah.
That's a song you wake up to.
Sonny and Cher is...
every single day.
I feel like I would probably get annoyed with waking up to the same song every single day. But that's because I can only listen to the same song on repeat like 3 times in a row before I get annoyed.
Oh, I can. I can keep listening to a song over and over. But that's me. I mean, there's some really good music in here. We got Ray Charles. Oh, I love the Ray Charles song. You Don't Know Me. Oh, I loved it. I think that was like my favorite song of the whole thing.
Oh, Nat King Cole.
Oh, love Nat King Cole.
Yeah, they got quite a bit of music in there, and it's all really good. And, like, a lot of it just reminds me of other things, the music. So, but it makes it to where, like, what it does remind me of makes me be able to relate to the movie. Or, like, understand exactly what's happening with the movie. So it's a really good music choice. So, comparison. I feel like there's a lot of things that do this same type of premise, repeating the same day over and over, or repeating the same thing over and over until you learn a lesson.
I mean, yeah.
I feel like that's a really popular premise.
It is. Also, if we did not know this, there actually was a Broadway musical made off this movie.
Really?
Yes. It's called Groundhog Day. There's a whole soundtrack for it. I haven't listened to it. I don't know why I haven't. But I haven't yet. I watched it on the Tonys. It was pretty good, so... Yeah. It's worth the listen if you're interested in knowing about Groundhog Day, the musical. I mean,
yeah.
They make a lot of musicals based off movies, so...
Well, it's a good idea, because sometimes coming up with an original musical is kind of hard. So
that's true.
Just...
I mean, we can't all, be like...
Little Shop of Horrors.
Classic. Or, Avenue Q is original.
So, trivia.
So there's a lot. I will admit that. So I just picked some. I only picked 5. I only picked 5.
That's not bad.
Okay. So Bill Murray was bitten by the groundhog twice.
Yeah.
And he had to have rabies shots for it. Because it was that bad.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I was like...
So, if you don't get a rabies shot, you can die.
You can die from rabies. You can. So, the original idea was for Phil to live the same day over and over for about 10,000 years or so. That was the director's idea.
Holy crap.
But he probably only lived it for about 10.
Oh, okay, for about 10.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
About 10 years.
With about the timeline. Because there is one point when he says something to Rita about having already lived this day for 6 months, and then the movie still goes on for another, hour.
So it's about 10 years if you want to think of that. You see about 38 days depicted, either full or partially. That's the only ones you see. Because a lot of the days are skipped over. I mean, if it's 10 years, you gotta skip over a lot.
That's a lot of days.
Yes. So, Bill Murray actually when he's playing the piano, it's Rachmaninoff, Rhapsody on a Theme by Paganini. He's actually playing it. That's him.
I believe that.
He actually took the time to learn that piece by ear, which is impressive.
Yeah, because learning by ear is hard.
And it's Rachmaninoff. And Rachmaninoff is not an easy composer to learn, even if you know music.
Yeah.
We can ask any of our pianists, players.
I mean, I learned how to play bits and pieces of songs by ear, but I know how to read music, so it makes it easier.
It's easier
once
that way.
I do finally get the piece of music, I already kind of know it, and then I can just read it. But, learning an entire piece, especially by a composer like that, by ear is hard. So,
kudos to Bill Murray for that.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Okay, this is the one that made me kind of oh, okay, that makes sense. So, the reason why they picked Groundhog Day. Okay, so Groundhog Day, the date right now is 2-2, which is a repeated number. Okay? And when you say number 2, you say take 2, that means you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
So it's good saying take the day over and over and over again. So that's part of the reason why they called it Groundhog Day.
That's funny. Makes sense.
I thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's funny.
So yeah, that was some of the trivia I found.
Nice.
There's a lot more, so if you want to go look for it, go for it.
Yeah. So where it has been on the list before, in 2010 it was number 162. In 2012 it was number 178. 2014 it was 217. 2016 it was 233, and then as of today when we were recording, it is still number 231.
Oh. That's cool.
Yeah. So previously number 231 was The Truman Show from 1998. In 2012, La Haine, which is our next film, from 1995. 2014 list, Castle in the Sky from 1986, which I believe is on our list somewhere.
Somewhere. I know it's a Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah. The 2016 list, The Terminator, which is coming up in 2 weeks from when this one comes up. And then, of course, like I said earlier, Groundhog Day has not moved. It is still at number 231.
Cool.
His favorite line.
There's so many good lines. It was hard for me to write down a lot of them.
The funniest one that I liked was right at the beginning.
Okay.
He goes, "Would you help me with my pelvic tilt?" Like, that's the first hint that you get that he's even slightly interested in her.
Just slightly.
And then he gets to the festival the next morning, and Rita's like, "You've missed it. They've been singing, and they sing, and then when they get cold, they go over by the fire, and then they get warmed up, and then they come back and they sing." And he goes, "Yeah, they're hicks, Rita." Like, this is such a sarcastic line, and it's delivered so well.
I mean, it's just...
It's
Bill Murray's wonderful.
Yeah. Another one that I like was, "Well, what if there is no tomorrow? There wasn't one today."
That's true. That's a good one.
And then the last one I have is my favorite one. "What would you do if you were stuck in the same place, every day the same? Nothing you did mattered." And then the one guy, he goes, "That's about sums it up for me."
Yeah.
That was funny. I really liked that.
So I got two. It's a conversations, actually. So one of them is Phil and the hostess lady. He's like, is right after, like, he's been repeating the day. He's like, "Have you ever had deja vu?" And she's like, "No, but I can check the kitchen."
Oh yeah, I liked that one.
That one I laughed so hard.
That was funny.
And then this other one's between Rita and Phil. Because he made some smart comment.
Of course.
And she's like, "You're incredible." And of course, Phil comes back quickly. "Who told you?" I was like, nice thinker there.
I like that deja vu line. That's really.
I do.
Like that one
I love it.
It does kind of sound like food if you don't know what it means. Like, you've never heard
It's
of
like
it
some
before.
weird foreign food. And she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah.
It's like so sweet and innocent.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's a good one. I like that one. So our rating.
I give it a solid 8.
An 8.
I do.
I had to take away points for it being a comedy and a romance, but then I also gave it points for being an entertaining one to me.
Okay.
So it is a 7 for me.
7 for you and 8 for me. It's like, again, I grew up watching this movie, so... I mean, this movie came out, like, right around the time I was born, if I want to say that. Yeah, I grew up... I grew up with Bill Murray's films.
Mm.
So
I had heard of this one, I just never watched it.
Oh, I love his movies.
I do too. He does a really good job. And I'd heard of it, I just had never watched it because of it being a...
It's like he's really good at comedy, but you have to see his dramatic films.
Oh, yeah.
They're just as good.
Yeah. He's a really talented actor. And, like, he does get typecasted sometimes, but then other times he just gets cast no matter what. So.
I would suggest, if you want to see a dramatic Bill Murray film, I would suggest St. Vincent.
Oh, my God, that is such a good movie.
Love that movie.
Melissa McCarthy does a really good job in that movie,
It's
too.
wonderful. You see, he's not really being funny.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
No, he has some sarcastic moments, but that's the character that he is. But he's not really... It's definitely not a comedy.
No, it's not.
And that's the same thing for Melissa McCarthy, because she's known for comedy as well.
She's known for comedy.
And she does a really serious part in this movie,
It's a wonderful
too.
film. So
Yeah.
I recommend St. Vincent if you like Bill Murray, or if you like Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, both of them do a great job. Alright, so our next film is La Haine, which means hate in French. And it is in French, and it is in black and white.
It's in black and white. Yeah.
If you pay for premium, you will get uncut episodes, early release of the episodes, which they'll come out on Monday instead of Friday. And then also you'll get a special monthly episode once every month. We'll put something out, like our ideas for next month, for this month, for September. We picked 4 of our least favorite movies, the ones we don't ever want to watch again. Nice. And you vote on either Facebook or Twitter to make us watch one of them, and we'll review it in a little 30 to 45 minute episode there for you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of dreading that, but Head of Soap is not one of mine.
Yeah.
I'm kind of voting for Kat's least favorites at this point.
Yeah. And that is at $1 a month. And then for $5 a month, you will get all of those, plus be able to be in your choice of a movie for every 50 movies. As long as, like, you get there in time.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get there in time. But you'll get to join us for up to 5 movies if you pay $5 a month. And like I said, our first special episode for this month of September will be based on your votes. The choices for the movies that one of us hates are Frozen, The Love Guru, It the Original, and Howard the Duck. So make sure you vote on Twitter or Facebook for that. And then we're still running our contest. One person out of every 10 that leaves a positive written review will be randomly selected to join us for a movie of their choice. So get to leaving reviews.
Yes, they help us, so please.
Yes. And where to find us?
So you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Cat and Jess Talk the Best. Our email is catandjesstalkthebest250@gmail, and our website is catandjesstalkthebest.podbean.com.
Yep. And you can find the show pretty much everywhere now. Actually, yeah. Everywhere.
Pretty much.
iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. And also every episode forever will be on Podbean. So if you ever feel like you want to go back and listen to the first one and we're on like number 198, you can just
Go back and listen.
Back to Podbean and listen. And our opening music is by Audio Binger. So any music we ever have is by him. You can find him Facebook, YouTube, and he has a website, audiobinger.net.
Yeah, check him out. She has a porg.
I do have a porg. He's so cute.